I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified.
It's like really, you're going to work from home and you're going to make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. You're going to make the people who make your food that gets delivered, that they can't work from home. The people that come fix your house, they can't work from home, but you can? Does that seem morally right?
This was not just extreme carelessness with classified material. No one will be above the law.
Now watch this drive.
Confession. I relapsed on porn after 297 days. But instead of feeling shame and self-hate, like always, something weird happened. Sad fact. I suffered from crippling porn addiction for years. It nearly destroyed my life, but through endless tries, willpower, and mentorship, I thought I slayed this demon forever. I was wrong. I was going through an especially stressful time last week with crazy long work days, urgent business fires, and here's how I normally cope with it. Number 1, the healthy way. Work out, watch The Office, best TV show ever, go on a walk with wifey. Or number 2, unhealthy way. Watch porn. Now, here's what shocked me.
Pause. Is this the Reddit guy?
This is unrelated. For years, each time I relapsed on porn, I'd feel depressed and worthless, and I'd hate myself. But this time, instead of throwing a pity party, I did 3 things. 1, I found strength in God's word. Philippians 4:13 says I can do all things through Christ, who gives me strength. And number 2, I reminded myself...
It's Charlie Kirk.
I reminded myself... No, this is a new guy. I reminded myself that I'm human, and it's normal to make mistakes. It's me. And lastly, I committed to doing better next time, and went on with my day. It may sound simple, but the secret to being unstoppable is hidden here. Listen, success is not about how many times you fall. It's about how fast you get up when you go down. Also learned that from porn. So I don't care if you started an Amazon or dropshipping biz in the past and failed, or you wanted to quit your dead-end job before but couldn't pull the trigger. As long as you're willing to learn from your mistakes and go again, it's okay. Dare to try one more time. And this time...
it's something about dropshipping. Come on. This is like
And this time,
influencer.
You can make $3,000 to $7,000 a month like clockwork by sending messages on Instagram. I appreciate you taking the time to read this. If you're into business/entrepreneurship, number 1, follow me for more of these, or RT to tweet below to share this thread with your audience. I'm looking for 5 resilient people who are not willing to give up on themselves and are committed to the
scheme.
This is like the most extravagant like spam comment that you'd get on like a WordPress blog, you know?
Yeah. And are committed to the process of making
$20,000 a month.
Are committed to the process of making $4,000 a month in the next 4 to 6 weeks with setting. If that's you, comment set below, and I'll show you how.
I nailed it. That was unrehearsed.
You did. So
that's from
this is a pyramid scheme.
Richard Yu at Richard YUZEE. I would really encourage you to give it a read for yourself. Did not expect it to end that way.
No, that was quite the segue. That was
very powerful. It's clearly preying on young men who are filled with like shame over their own sexuality, obviously. And that's actually a trend that I've been seeing a lot. This is the most explicit merging of those two things.
Do you hate yourself for masturbating? Well, have I got the plan for you?
Why don't you try dropshipping?
Try joining my pyramid scheme. You can earn $4,000 a month.
It's so sudden. It's so harsh, the transition. It's so good.
I get irritated by like all of these people that call themselves like entrepreneurs and all they really fucking do is like sell like fucking Mary Kay or something like that. They still have a full-time job, you know? Like they're not like making bank on that side hustle. It's just like they're probably like just breaking even or like maybe a little bit extra.
On the flip side, we have a close friend whose brother, he had a landscaping company. You know, they did like tree trimming, grass cutting, all that stuff. He's pivoted to talking on like YouTube, like influencer kind of content, talking about having his own business as a landscaper. And he's now making more money doing that than he was landscaping.
But does he call himself an entrepreneur for doing it, for starting a YouTube channel?
He does. He's that kind of guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what.
This is one of those in a series of different hustles that he's been working at his entire life.
To me, it sounds like he is an entrepreneur, though. He
Well,
does
he
a whole
is.
bunch
He's
of different
succeeding.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's
like he's not like struggling at his day job and then also struggling at his side hustles. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Well, he was for a long time, but he
He's
finally
convincing other people to do
had
that.
some semblance of normalcy and success somewhat with the landscaping, and then he just couldn't help himself. It's just like, now I got to do this.
The
Gotta
allure
pivot.
was too strong. The siren call of YouTube.
Yeah, it's great.
Speaking of which, you guys see the numbers recently? We're doing pretty successful ourselves, up to 11 subscribers.
Oh yeah.
Thank
So
you for
how
telling
many-
all your friends.
Yeah, how many people do you have to like be a reference for now? Like 5? 4?
No, I
Four, right?
specifically
Did
in
you
my
buy them all
tweet.
microphones? Or?
In my tweet, I said the 8th subscriber.
The 8th subscriber.
What did I say? The promotion.
Well, I wasn't sure if you like changed that after the fact.
No, if you get on this now, I'll extend the offer to the 12th sub. But my offer was, if you become our 8th sub, I will be your reference on any job application and lie through my teeth about how you saved my life. And that got some hits.
It did.
Did it?
What 4?
Got 4, yeah.
Apparently got 4 hits, but like, are these just your parents?
No,
All
I
4 of
actually
them.
I know most of their names.
You guys think we should move over to Reddit?
The Reddit thing, I want to spend some time here. I want to get
really?
in. I want to get deep
dig
in.
into. That's why I wanted.
This is
I haven't read-
nightmarish. This
I
is
haven't
so
read anything
nightmarish.
about it.
Well,
I
you're
know
the probably the biggest Reddit user of all of us.
We got a
Yeah,
little reply
I,
all yes, yes, no situation going on here.
there was a lot of people bitching about their change in the API thing for like a couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and then I guess they made the change.
No, July 1st is actually when it takes place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because like people did the whole like, I don't know if you I'm sure you followed it, but like a lot of subs went private only.
Mm-hmm. So
But I
many
feel-
that it actually crashed Reddit for a bit.
Yeah, I don't think that ended.
Randy, do you want
No,
to
it did.
do the
It was
background?
100%. That's exactly.
Yeah,
It was
but
confirmed. That's the processing that it took to. I think 5,000 went private at the exact same time, approximately.
Oh. Okay, so it was- yeah, okay.
that transition
would do it.
took the site down just temporarily. but,
Steve,
you know.
Yeah, of
Steve,
course.
you got to get in a
And-
bank
and-
queue on that.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure all of those subs are no longer private.
No, a lot of them are still actually staying private.
Are they? How many?
Steve
out of the
Huffman.
5,000?
Well, it was 9,000, I think, total went private, and I think 5 or 6,000 are still private.
You know
Can we set
who?
the
You know
table?
who really suffered from this? Me.
You shouldn't be using it.
No, the user.
You
The
shouldn't
user.
be. You shouldn't be using Reddit.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna use Reddit.
Well, it's not going to exist much longer the way things are going.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well.
It'll be fine.
Drew, you do the background.
Oh,
You're good at
okay.
that.
So Reddit, it's existed since 2005. It's a platform, front page of the internet is what they call themselves. It's made up of a bunch of small communities called subreddits. For a long time, they've consisted of pretty much anything that you want. They're no stranger to controversy. There used to be almost no moderation whatsoever. That's changed a bit. They're much more in the news recently, even before all of this controversy for this specific thing happened, because people have been talking a lot about how Google search, for example, is degrading. And so a lot of people, if you are looking for information from a real human being and not a bot farm, you'd add Reddit to your advanced search so that you would get results specifically from Reddit. So it's one of the last really popular places on the internet to find like actual human beings talking about things. There's a lot of value in that. I think that Steve Huffman, current CEO, he was one of the founders back in the day. He left. He's back now. He's been back since 2015, maybe. He's really fucking it all up. One of the other things that's been happening with Reddit specifically is because it is a reliable source for some higher quality than average information. Large language models, ChatGPT and the like, have trained on a lot of Reddit data. And that does not sit very well with the CEO. This is what he's claiming. And so he wanted to make sure that if they're using the API to get that data, there would be significant charges that Reddit would be able to profit off of. Ignoring the fact that you can scrape it just as easily, the more
Or
likely...
ignoring the fact that it's not his data. It's
yeah, we'll get into
Spoiler
that.
alert! Spoiler alert!
Oh, is that a thing? Is that what they, is that a thing they were talking about?
The influence that made up the majority of this decision is less about the fact that he wants to make money on language models scraping it, and more about the fact that there are third-party applications that do a lot of things better than Reddit proper for specifically accessibility. Apollo is a big one. Do you know any other ones, Carl?
You mean just like the Reddit apps?
Yeah, Reddit is fun.
Yeah.
Is one.
I mean, there used to be Alien Blue, used to be like a really good mobile app for Reddit when Reddit's mobile apps sucked really, really bad. I don't know what happened to it. I think it got shut down or something, and then Reddit came out with their app. There's always been like third-party things that have done Reddit better than Reddit.
Yeah.
Like using the same data, but just a way better experience.
And so
because they asked for that to happen. But
my
that's
personal,
another spoiler alert. Sorry.
My personal like take to so what the API pricing that's been proposed, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's really absurd. It's so absurd that if you're a third party app like Apollo, I don't know how they monetize. I don't know if they monetize. They probably do in some way, but it would cost them tens of millions of dollars to stay up just based on those charges. So it's much more likely that the CEO wants to push all of those third party applications out because it's harder to serve ads against that content. And in a recent interview, he let slip, and I don't know if this was just like a random thing he said or a lie, but he said something to the effect that 95% of Reddit users do use the native technology, like their own first party stuff. This is the thing that he seems to be talking about the most, about how, it's unfair that these third party apps get to use the data for free or whatever. And the person who runs the Apollo app, he said, I have no problem paying for the API, but ideally, the rates would not be this absurd, clearly designed to be prohibitively expensive. And also, more than 1 month's notice would have been great. That seems to be what's really going on here. Personally, I would advocate for just make the first party experiences better, but it seems to be going a different route. I think he also has ambitions of taking Reddit public.
He's trying. He has been trying to do that since.
Oh yes, yeah. Like the thing that you mentioned, Carl, about the apps they used to suck. He was one of the reasons that improved.
Yeah, I mean the first party Reddit mobile app has been significantly better for a few years now. It's been really, really good. There's still some bugs with it. I'm too lazy to report them, and it's not perfect, but it's still better than any of the ones that were out before. And I know like everybody really hates the new modern design, or like a lot of people really hate the modern design of the new website, but honestly, I think it's fine. I think it needed to be refreshed. I think that old engineering view of basically a table from 1995 was time to retire it, but
yeah.
I honestly, I think like some of the design choices that he's made have been fine while he's been at the helm, at least. But there are always things that come with these types of refreshes and stuff that do drive me crazy. One of the ones in particular is like they kind of followed the whole Facebook and Twitter thing, where if you reopen your app, it refreshes the whole app. So now you lose your place where you were, and you're right back at the top, and you kind of lose all of your stuff. So if you're one of those like just scrollers that keeps looking at stuff,
Lurkers,
and or your app closes on something. This next time you open it, it's gonna go to the top again, and it's like, okay, why?
It's probably an iPhone thing.
The original site was
it's not an iPhone thing. I mean, Twitter does it, Facebook does it, they all do it. Instagram does it.
Do that on Android though.
So he seems to be like a somewhat capable, at least technical engineer.
Yeah, he coded.
The original site was written in Lisp, which is funny.
He originally wrote the site.
He does seem to be kind of a piece of shit. One story that really stuck out to me was in 2016, which obviously fuck r/the Donald. But in 2016, apparently he modified comments that were made by people in that subreddit that were directed at him personally, talking shit about him. And he modified their comments so it seemed like they were talking about the moderators of the subreddit. It's like, you can't. Are you 6?
It was only for a few hours. It only stayed live for a few hours.
Yeah, but it's just like the fact that like there's not something in your brain that says this is a really bad fucking idea. He's similarly, I think he's done so many fucking foot guns over the last this press tour he's doing. Like, I just don't think he knows.
I think that's a perfect segue, a perfect telltale sign of Steve Huffman's attitude when it comes to Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit was built by the community. If he drew a pie graph, he would be a tiny slice. That slice to him, in his mind, is extremely oversized. He thinks Reddit is his.
Right.
So, him going into the Donald and changing that comment is because he feels that he owns this site. He put in the work. It's his idea. He went to, Y Combinator and got the funding, and it's his. But Reddit, more so than any other social network, because that's what it is, truthfully, it's a social network. More than any other social network, is absolutely 100% completely dependent and made on the backs of free labor from moderators and users.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it would not exist. And you can say the same about Twitter and Facebook to an extent.
Not to that degree.
But
though.
not to that degree, exactly. You can remove Steve Huffman from the equation and Reddit would still prosper. It would
You
still
could probably
exist.
remove every
yeah, like
employee,
which is
and it
so
would
they
still
don't
be
have
fine.
they have like only a few thousand employees.
If you took like all the costs out of like running the servers for Reddit and stuff, and like they just like left for a year, Reddit would still be right where it is. Actually, probably better by the time they came back.
And that is exactly the point I was about to make.
He compared
Not only is it completely made on the backs of these moderators and users, but if anything, the executives, the management, Reddit itself is kind of getting in the way of what makes Reddit a great website. And
by taking out the racist stuff.
Yeah, to that point though, maybe I'm like in the wrong here, but due to the whole free speech thing, but I found it okay that they got rid of some of the really bad subreddits. I think they were cesspools, but the flip side of that is all those people were at least in that one spot. And the people that belonged to those subs, they were kind of like in that spot.
Yeah, they're isolated. They're silent.
Yeah, they were isolated. But then once they shut those things down, all those people just kind of bled into all of the other subs.
Yeah,
and the same. Actually, Reddit
they probably should just have their own little corners to. Hang
Yeah,
out
and the
in
same thing
and
happened
stuff.
with like the Chapo folks and the leftist folks. They started trolling, and that's really what got them in trouble. And actually, a similar thing is fuck cars subreddit are starting to poke like at other car focused subreddits, starting little fires.
When
and it's like, guys, you gotta like you got your thing. It's
when
really
you get
beautiful.
a certain level of popularity, like think about the United States, they need to become imperialistic. They need to start conquering other lands.
I mean,
There's one thing for the fuck cars subreddit to win over like bicyclists or people who are really about pedestrian infrastructure or public transit or whatever. It's another thing to go into like the Fast and Furious.
It's another thing. And by another thing, I mean a better thing. It's awesome. It kicks
It's a lot.
I love it, but it's
they
like, come on,
all
guys.
do it. Like every sub does it though. It does seem like the less conservative subs tend to do it. The anti-work sub definitely goes into the
late stage capitalism does it.
Yeah, they all do it. Like especially those. And they all go into like our conservative. Like everyone goes to our conservative.
They take a screenshot of like them flaming. They're just trolling people and like
My favorite example of this is the people from r/big dick problems going into r/small dick problems and patronizing them. And they're like, "Oh, it's not that bad." Or it's like, you gotta understand. Like, I wish my dick wasn't so big, whatever. And the small dick problem people are, "Fuck you."
Rewind it for a second. Steve Huffman. He seems like he might be a nice guy, but he is completely clueless to what makes Reddit magical. I guess you could say what makes it tick.
How much is the API?
Proof point really quick before we go into the API costs.
Sure.
2021 Reddit annual revenue was $350 million. They have a staff of about 2,000, I think. At that point, they might have had a little bit more. And I'm just reverse engineering that based on like their layoffs. They laid off 5%, which is like 90 people or whatever. Anyway, so
75,000 per staff member.
Daily users in 2020 was 52 million. Their valuation was $10 billion in 2021. That was when they first were thinking about going public, and then they rescinded it because of the economy, and now they're thinking about it again. Of course, that has nothing to do with this API costs and what have you. What the fuck are you doing, Steve Huffman? I'm going to talk directly to you. I'm talking directly to you, Steve Huffman. What are you doing?
You're looking at me, though.
I'm looking at the camera. How are you not making money, for one? And how are you not realizing how Reddit is a thing that's potential to make even more money? Without you fucking with it,
One thing
with this whole
leave
API
alone.
thing. Yeah, just leave it alone. Because like you were saying, Drew, if 5% of users are actually coming through like Apollo or different separate apps, who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
What are you going to get out of that?
Why are you fighting this hard for a 5% revenue bump?
You're going to destroy every number that I just read off. You're going to completely dismantle that within the next few years.
He's probably got that, like,
keep on going down this direction.
He might be like personally nice or whatever, but he seems to me to have like a very narcissistic
Oh yeah.
approach to this shit. And it's all of that shit's built on free money, like millions of dollars in free money from the Y Combinator, and then millions of dollars in free labor value from the community. And one of the things that he said on his press tour, I don't even know why he's doing this because he keeps making it worse, is he compared the moderators that were leading the charge on the blackout for Reddit or whatever, like taking things private. He said that they were like landed gentry. How unaware... I had to look it up. The landed gentry is a traditional British social class consisting of gentlemen in the original sense. It basically, like, you don't have to work the land anymore. You just own it, and like other people work the land for you, and you basically
Like lords.
You're like a rent seeker, yeah, like a lord. And it's like you are the CEO of a platform that is, to Randy's point, built on the free labor of moderators. You're saying they're resting on their laurels. What does that make you?
Yeah,
like you've been coasting on this shit.
Your currency, Steve Huffman, again talking to you directly. Your currency is these folks, these moderators, these landed gentry.
Yeah.
That is your currency, even more so than daily active users or advertisers. Those are your employees, and you're treating them like actual scum. They can just be cast aside
in a way that's
and
like
be fine.
Sigmund Freud would have a field day. Like, you're projecting so hard.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Despite your opinion of them, and even if they don't agree with you as far as like politics or what have you, and as far as the Donald or anything like that.
But it's not just like this is he's making that blanket statement about.
Oh yeah,
the
things that have shut down are like Ask Me Anything and career advice. Like these huge subreddits have completely went private. It's like
politically
it's
neutral, like right, left, like it's
across the board.
It's not going great. It was funny because he was like, "Yeah, don't worry." There was like an internal email he sent out where he's like, yeah, it's not impacting revenue very much, which I think it's stupid, by the way, for the protest people to be like, we're going to black out for 2 days. And I guess the thinking there is that people are more likely to do it if you put a time limit on it. But at the same time, that signals to Reddit leadership and like, oh, okay, we'll just do whatever.
Yeah, we'll just weather the storm.
But at the same time, like if you're Reddit leadership, for one, why did you let Steve do this in the first place? But for another, like your best play here is to just not say anything. You're actively making it worse. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what the strategy is. I really don't get it.
I don't understand either. I would understand the strategy if there was a strategy behind it. Yeah. He just seems like he's going in, talking up the cuff. I mean,
please don't put it in the newspaper that I'm mad.
He's talking about how Elon Musk is admirable as far as his treatment of Twitter and the layoffs and the aggressiveness of those layoffs and what have you. And it's like, come on,
read the fucking room.
Like, read the room.
And for people that are employed formally at Reddit, they're looking at their CEO singing the praises of a CEO whose social media company laid off a ton of people in a really shitty, unempathetic ways. If you're an employee of that guy, that can't be good for morale.
Yeah. Here's the most curious part. So I've been doing a lot of research in the last few days, and it seems like Steve Huffman actually only takes a salary of about $250,000 a year.
He's a
which
giver.
Is obnoxiously low for a CEO in San Francisco.
It's something with a $10 billion valuation.
We're talking by any measure, it's either the 10th or the 20th most popular website on the planet, and he takes a $250,000 salary. Yet his net worth is probably somewhere
I'm sure
12 to 15. I mean, he sold Reddit to Connie Nash back in, whatever, and then,
too early.
left and then came back after a few years. But nonetheless, that coupled with some of his moderation ideas, coupled with the fact that he was on record saying that he doesn't feel that Reddit is the bastion of free speech, that, as far as the crackdown and all that other stuff. I don't get why he doesn't seem to understand this whole...
His own platform.
Yeah, his platform and what makes his platform special, and especially the free money aspects that you were
let me explain it to you, Randy. The problem is that, his shareholders need to make, more and more money quarter over quarter. And this is
they're not public though. They're not.
It doesn't matter.
They're thinking about IPO.
Yeah, but they still need to make more money for.
No, they still need to do the infinite growth thing like everyone else.
He makes a $250,000 paycheck.
But you can do that, all of this stuff,
to sell the API.
I understand the motivation for trying to squeeze every penny out of this thing and trying to position yourself for a stronger IPO. You have to be way slicker about it than this. This is just really bad execution, terrible.
That's the main point. So if it's only 5% of your daily active users are actually coming in through these third-party services, and that would be affected by this API change.
I actually said it was only 2%.
that's even worse. Like, why are you being so aggressive about this? Why can't you be a little slick? One, why the 1 month? One, why the price? You know, if it's true that Apollo is going to pay however many millions of dollars,
20 million.
20 million. Is it a year?
A year, yeah, because they estimated that they would be about $2.50 per user for them, and then the price for Reddit at that same point is like 12 cents.
So if they're going from like free right now, right, to 20 million.
Yeah, free to 20 million.
Obviously, that's a significant chunk for them.
Yeah.
But again, 2%. Why? It seems like you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Because that wasn't the intention, Randy. It was never meant to be like that, even though I've been
It
arguing.
was, though.
No, it was
He doesn't
never
get to
intended
say
to
what
be
the
like
fuck it
that.
was
He
meant to be
literally
for.
said,
he
like,
sold it. He sold it a year after he wrote it. Like,
let me finish. Let me finish. Shut your holes. It was never intended to do that, okay?
Do what?
Third-party apps was not the thing that the API was meant to do, even
Yes,
though I
it was.
fought against that.
It was.
And fought for it for years and upon years. It wasn't supposed to do that, and I take full blame for it.
Well,
End quote.
according to a lot of records, Reddit was begging these third parties to solve
Just letting you know what he said.
their issues when it came to the mobile app and the user interface and just the terrible UX of the website. They asked these apps to step up and solve those things.
but no, it's different now.
No,
I know it's different now,
It's not the
but-
same.
It's the
Look,
you
I
could
didn't.
solve
I never. He never.
I am altering the plan.
I'm with him on this. He
You
never
can solve it
intended.
different ways.
He never intended for people to make money on this, Randy and Drew.
it was always only for him to make money on.
It was.
That's
it was
the main
only.
thing.
Look, 98% of the people make tools and bots and enhancements for Reddit. It was not supposed to make money for other people. It's just not what it was supposed to be done.
I don't know. Make your own shit better.
I don't know if he remembers that
I don't
before
think
Reddit,
he
there was
realizes what an API is for. when it's
before
public.
Before Reddit, there
Making
was
money.
a website. There was a website called Dig,
Dig.com, baby.
Dig.com, and that's no longer. They stepped in it too, and Reddit isn't immune.
What did Dig do to step in it?
I
what they
forget.
did.
It was something.
Big dog.
It was definitely something.
Dug their own grave. They did.
But Dig was started by like Kevin Rose of Tech TV fame. This is like old school
I don't fucking know
internet
these
fame.
Apparently, it was just poor product decisions, rising competition from other platforms, internal problems amongst its staff. As
There was
well
a
as users
specific-
trying to game the system for their own gain.
There was a specific catalyst, though. I recall it happening. Like something happened. I can't recall the exact event, but it was similar to this. They pissed off their users, and their users just within a month just exodus, and they
it's
all
a
went
really
to Reddit.
delicate balance because people like Reddit because people go to Reddit and people like Reddit. So you have this like compounding goodwill.
Here's the thing
effect.
about Reddit versus, sorry to interrupt, but here's the thing about Reddit versus like Twitter. So Twitter, people just use, and they use it even reluctantly because they're just like, this is where
That's where
everybody's
the
at. I'm
stuff
just gonna
happens,
check.
where
I'm
the
just
stuff
gonna
happens.
like keep on searching through. Reddit has those like rabid, nerdy, like
Passionate
active,
is the word you're looking
passionate,
for, Randy.
like those.
Yeah, a
type
bunch of
users,
passionate losers.
Those the incels, no. Those folks though, they vote with their feet. You get a lot of programmers and software engineers, like systems engineers. You get a lot of people that know what they're doing. It's just a matter of time before somebody figures out, like, hey, you know what? I can just set this thing up, Cloudflare hosting, and just like be done with it.
Scrape it.
So,
For, like, half
so
the price.
like-
you guys remember when like Reddit changed something with like the voting, like the way the downvotes and stuff work and the upvotes and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, YouTube did away with like the dislike stuff. That's one of the things that actually I'm reading what went wrong with Dig. And like, that was one of the things that, that kind of was like that downturn that you're talking about. They came out with that V4. I kind of remember the V4, but
Yeah,
like
vaguely.
they got rid of downvoting posts. They got rid of saving favorites and posting videos. Like, what the fuck's the point of your platform now?
Yeah.
And
So-
that's why people were just like,
It
all right.
was so fast. And I know Dig wasn't at the daily active users. It certainly wasn't at the user base that Reddit became.
Yeah.
But it was still like one of those, this is too big to fail. I think the executives looked at it the same way that Steve Huffman is looking at Reddit right now. Reddit is not too big to fail.
no,
No.
absolutely not.
We're watching it fail.
Yeah.
kidding.
So tech is getting easier to build. Even really complex stuff that has to support a lot of users getting easier to build and cheaper to run. Your moat as a company is not how good your fucking source code is. It's not all of your technical prowess because all of this stuff comes off the shelf now. So your moat is your content for one, and good vibes. That is it. And he's fucking with the vibes. The content comes next. And what is this?
This is Dig. This is its downturns. Look at Kevin
okay,
Rose
like,
on Business Week.
Listener, we're
Like,
looking
look at
at
Kevin Rose is
chart.
the 2 thumbs up.
This is the launch of V4, and like, look, within 4 months, they lost 50% of their users.
Coincidence.
It was fast, man. It was so
Like,
fast.
like for the internet, it was really fucking.
I
fast.
was a huge Dig user. So I remember this.
They laid off 40% of their staff. Look at how quick that was.
And
That's insane.
I hated Reddit because Reddit looked like
Looked like garbage.
4chan. Yeah, it just looked so horrible. But you know,
It was
just,
4chan
come
for a little
before.
bit.
Did 4chan come before Reddit, or was
I
it
don't know,
after
but
Reddit?
it just looked like one of those like old '90s user groups. You know, as far as the interface
Yeah.
and what have you. And Dig was a little bit more slick. It had the candy apple kind of look at the time.
If I ever am invited to pose for a magazine cover about how this kid made $60 million in 18 months and do the Donald Trump 2 thumbs up, I need you to shoot me in the head. I need you to not let me do that.
Do you know who Kevin Rose is?
No.
No,
I mean, apparently he's the guy who started Dig.
I recommend all of the listeners and you, Drew, to look up Kevin Rose. He's a internet celebrity. He was part of a lot of the catalyst to start the
Looks
impetus
very
of
approachable.
the internet. They had this podcasting video
I just
site called
realized.
Revision 3, and I used to watch a lot of the episodes, and he seemed like a decent
So-
dude in the episodes, but whatever.
I just learned that he runs a venture capital fund.
Mhm. Yep.
And so I would, if anything that I said recently could be interpreted as critical of Kevin Rose, or
Kevin Rose,
that's not
please
me.
give us money.
That's not me.
That, like that.
I would
one
love to
of,
work
one of
with
the
you,
things
sir.
says that one of the things that kind of helped Dig crash was his resignation. So I think he
Did leave like right before everything really turned.
He probably didn't agree with the business decisions.
Yeah, in that same graph, he left like right here. It was still going up, and then
Yeah. Kevin Rose actually kind of reminds me a lot of you, Drew. Just off this one paragraph that I'm reading. As Rose began investing, he became more infatuated with rapidly cycling ideas and creating products, and had become more and more frustrated with Dig. This is Drew in a fucking
Got it.
nutshell.
Get bored real quick.
He turned on his own biggest fans, complaining that the engineers he had hired were subpar talents.
Yeah.
I've heard this
Yeah.
before.
I mean, when's the last time that Drew called us subpar?
Every day.
Every day.
I would
He does it in a different way. He doesn't call you subpar directly. It's more like, why do you guys hate new things, idiots?
I would.
Why are you guys
I would,
why are you guys so dumb?
no, I would.
Yeah.
I resent that. I would never call you guys engineers.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
That's a bit. That's a joke. That's a joke. I love you guys.
So album on display, folks.
album on display probably around.
I have a
It's
guess
the
for
same.
that.
You do?
I'm just guessing who it is.
That's the soundtrack
okay.
for Call of Duty Black
Do
Ops
it.
2.
Before I guess who it is, I want to describe this video. It's very dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's looks like a guy with a cowboy hat and a coat.
He's backlit, so that's
Yeah,
why.
he's definitely backlit. You can't see his face. He almost has no face. You can see like maybe it looks like maybe a drum set in the background. Maybe
Yeah, like maybe right here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like-
I don't know.
drum set or lights. I don't know. I got to guess, but I'm probably wrong. It like anytime I see like a hat like that, I feel like it's Neil Young. But
That's a really good guess, actually. And Neil Young does have a lot of hats like that.
yeah, well,
This is more
not Neil-
recent.
It's not Neil Young, is it?
Yeah, far more
Yeah.
recent than Neil Young.
Looks like it though.
When I do disclose it, which I'm not going to disclose it immediately. And yes, it does look like Call of Duty Black Ops. So Drew just shared that with me. I might like just put that like right over it.
It looks like Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah,
Black Ops
that's-
3, the cover art.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of does.
As far as the post. So backlit, cowboy hat wearing gent. Can you tell that he's got a guitar?
That was my guess. I thought he had a guitar.
So he does have a guitar in his hands. You know, it's a photograph.
Is his name Jeff?
His name is Jeff. That should be it for most people. That's it. That's it.
I
Like,
kind of
that's
guessed.
it.
So when I was looking at the bottom, it's a blur, right? And I thought maybe that's the person's name, and it could either be Neil or it could be Jeff.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that's Jeff Tweedy.
Yep, you got it. It's Jeff Tweedy.
I was thinking that before Neil Young.
Yeah.
I was like, man, Jeff Tweedy. But I didn't know Jeff Tweedy wore a cowboy hat.
Yeah, he does quite often.
I had no idea.
Probably in the last like decade or so. He's
He's the Wilco guy, right?
Yes. Jeff Tweedy is the lead singer, songwriter of Wilco.
Okay.
Prior to that, he was the bass player and songwriter in Uncle Tupelo. This is actually his first full-on 100% solo album.
Does it suck as much as Wilco?
No on both fronts. Wilco does not suck, and this does not suck either. So this is called Together at Last. It was released in 2017. Actually, this month, 2017, so it's 6 years old. This is actually his first full-on solo record. He's done other things other than Wilco, but it's always been with his sons or with other, musicians or what have you. This is like straight up his own thing. And it's basically a lot of Wilco songs, acoustic, which is fans have been waiting for forever.
I mean, who doesn't want a Wilco acoustic set?
Who doesn't?
Yeah, no.
So he tours often with just him acoustic, but this is the first time really, really classic Wilco songs, just him and acoustic. Probably like a one mic, maybe stereo mic situation in a studio, just single takes. Fantastic. Just really, really good.
I am a sucker for acoustic sets of songs and bands and stuff like that. Like, I would probably love this. There are bands that I've heard that I hated, but then when I heard an acoustic set, it was kind of amazing. One of those was Alice in Chains.
Oh, I could see that.
There's a double album they came out with a long time ago, and, I'm not an Alice in Chains fan by any means, but that acoustic side was just
I'm a man in the box.
fantastic. Yeah, but like it's got a whole different vibe to it.
It does.
And it's really good. But it's funny because like today I was listening to Naked and Famous album, and you know how Spotify is once it ends. I know there's a setting for it, but once it ends, it starts just playing random stuff of related artists and whatnot. But it started playing acoustic versions of Naked and Famous songs, which was really interesting, and honestly it completely changed the vibe of the song, and I was like, man, I actually like this almost more than the original stuff.
Yeah,
just because it's like a whole different vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like sometimes it's like even the Nirvana Unplugged, like that is a famous.
I was going to actually
album.
make that comparison to like the Unplugged series back in
the
MTV
Unplugged
days.
series was amazing. Like there are so many good albums from that Unplugged series. Like I think even Clapton. I'm not a Clapton fan either, but like even Clapton had an Unplugged down there.
Especially not now with his politics.
No, definitely not. But I mean, he's still an amazing guitarist. But like,
No, it's fine. Yeah, I recommend it. Then I mean, it's got that intimacy. It's got that raw kind of quality that
cool.
like the Unplugged series would provide and what have you. I put this on so often. I mean, more often than Wilco albums, really. If I'm just sitting in the backyard, campfire kind of thing, I just pop this on because it's just, I don't know, it's got that vibe. That
I've been
good.
looking for something new to listen to, and I am not a Wilco fan. Like,
really?
Yeah, I mean, I like.
So we can end this call right now, Drew. I'll see you guys later.
I like some of their songs. I don't have anything against Wilco. I can't listen to like a whole album by Wilco.
Oh my god!
I don't know why. I just can't. But like
any album, they got a lot of albums.
It doesn't matter. I can't give it enough. I just can't sit through it. So, but there's definitely a lot of songs that I really, really like. But like as a whole, I can't say that I'm a huge fan.
Well, give this one a chance.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Give this one a chance. It's his first one. That's straight up solo and fan favorite. And I have it on vinyl, so I'm cool with
awesome.
you.
Was he going for a Neil Young thing there? Do you think? I wonder.
Actually, like the whole hat thing, I think he's gotten comparisons before. Like his whole,
just the whole like darkness.
Yeah.
Just that whole darkness. He got the
like,
fringe on his jacket too.
No, he's not. He's not wearing one of those nudies. But they do that. Wilco does the nudie suits, which are like the fringe, like leather, like Nashville, like crazy suits. I think he's just wearing denim and a cowboy hat, that is Neil Young as well.
I'm sure you've seen like Jimmy Fallon play with Neil Young,
play
as Neil Young and with Neil Young on stage, and it's like all you see is it looks just like that. Like it's backlit, it's dark.
Yeah. Some of those Jimmy Fallon bits are they're great because it's not even funny. He just does like a really good Neil Young impression,
really
and then it's just done. It's like, well, geez, that was just really good.
He did Old Man on the stage one time, and then like halfway through the song, Neil Young actually came out, and they were wearing the same stuff.
Yeah,
and you almost couldn't even tell it wasn't Neil Young, except for Jimmy Fallon's
Old Man
young.
is like a fantastic song.
Drew is checked out.
Yeah, Drew checks out on this segment every single
No, I'm
week,
just
so.
well, it's not my strong suit, but I'm just reading something. I don't even know if we should talk about this because it's very suspect. It's still very suspect to me that it actually happened.
Well, we could always do like the ChatGPT versus that one thing that I can't remember ever.
Bard, which Google
Bard.
probably will eliminate, just like it eliminated Google domains.
Oh yeah, what's up with
yesterday?
Oh yeah, okay, perfect. That's better because
Was
maybe
that
next
like?
week if I
Did
can
anybody see
verify
that
this
coming,
shit.
or was that like just like a thing that just happened
Out of the
nowhere?
blue. We haven't even gotten an email. So I have multiple, our team, all of us, I think, have multiple domains registered with Google Domains.
Yeah.
They haven't even notified the users, the people that
I have a
paid for
Google
these
domain that
domains.
hasn't been. I haven't been notified.
No,
Fucking stole
so,
from me.
So Drew shared this story from I forget what publication, but shared the story yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, is this just fake? Is this like an April Fool's joke?" So I went into Google Domains, and you can't even find it until you dig into support.
Mm-hmm.
You have to click like a couple times, and then there's an alert on the top of support that says whatever.
Oh, by the way,
Squarespace
we're
is blah, blah, blah.
we're self-destructing.
Exactly. So yeah, Google Domains is completely sold to Squarespace, and the transition is
So
going to happen
fucking
in the
weird.
next few months.
So
It's
is
so
this part of
goddamn
the
weird.
thing that is this part of the article that you sent yesterday, Drew? Like, is it due to the antitrust thing with the European Commission, or is this a
I don't
separate
think so.
thing?
I don't
No,
think
no,
so.
no. It's not the antitrust thing. That's a whole separate thing. That's
Nobody's
Google
forcing
Ads.
their hand on this.
This
just
is
curious.
their excuse is that they're pivoting away from
The internet?
Google Domains because it's not part of their core offering.
You're the internet.
It's the same.
You're the internet.
It's the same lame excuse that they've given to killing like Reader and killing just dozens
Wave.
and dozens Wave. Just dozens of
Wave,
products.
There's
See, like,
7,000.
here's
You know
the
what
thing, though,
else?
Google-
You know what else isn't like one of their primary things? Email. Yeah, Gmail's still here.
People talk about that, but Wave, like I understand that because it just didn't have the user base. It didn't have this success. But some of these products are like wildly successful, wildly used. Google Domains came out of beta in 2022. Give it a second. And there's
Really?
10.
It's that soon? Oh, it came out of beta.
2014.
Came
Yeah,
out of beta.
2014 is when it started. 2022 is when it came out of beta. They have 10
Jesus Christ, by
million
the way.
domains registered on it. It's like, what
And
is a
why
measure of
Squarespace
success?
of all places?
Because, okay, so in Google Domains, you've always had the ability to directly integrate with Squarespace.
They've always had like kind of a partnership there.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
exactly.
I
So,
didn't know
so
that.
you can register your domain and you can create a website based off the domain on Squarespace and a few other providers. So I'm assuming that's why the pivot happened.
Which is
But
buy
here's the other-
Squarespace.
Here's the other strange part. So I guess Google Domains is just a reinstance of the fact that you could always buy a domain through Google Cloud, through just their Google Cloud services. So all it is just a wrapper on that functionality and added with, so easier billing and added workspace integration. So you can do the billing for Workspace, Google Workspace.
By the way, should we not be using like this like shakes? I mean, I know that they're famously they shut shit down all the time, but it's like I don't know how deeply I want to be integrated with them if like this is their approach.
I
know.
just want to state for the users that Drew had been begging us to get onto Google Workspace.
I wanted
for the past,
some-
6 months.
I wanted
for the 6
a
months, and then hold on, and then we
directory
finally
solution.
did it, and look what happened.
I
Look
wanted-
this is why we
so
can't trust you, Drew.
Google Workspace is still around. I did not say specifically Google Workspace. That just felt like
Pretty sure
What,
he's
what
begging.
else
I'll
are we
use
going to do?
Google
Microsoft? Are we going to do like,
Active Directory.
we're going to do
What
Active,
are we? What
yeah,
are
we're
we? A
gonna do
real fucking
Office?
company? Absolutely not.
Oh, come on. Should this call be on Teams right now?
Yeah, it should be.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Speaking of like Google and all their weird shit, and you guys probably saw this coming way earlier than I did, but like, what's with them no longer doing third-party apps on their devices, like their smart speakers or Google Nest Home or something?
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that was announced a long time ago. Give it.
Like, what
They're
the hell?
pivoting.
Are they just shutting it down? Like, are they getting rid of
It
the
just doesn't make any
speakers
money.
type
It
thing?
doesn't make any money.
I know it
Adoption
doesn't make
isn't
money.
there. The vast majority of those applications are just informational,
Nonsense.
right? Like they don't really provide functionality. Google is a information company.
Information
They've got their
company,
knowledge graph, so like it makes more sense that that information could be provided just by crawling your website and then delivered to the end user directly.
That's true. I mean, that does make sense,
without
but
having to
what it
support,
doesn't
like, a
do
third-party
is add
ecosystem.
stuff to my grocery
So
list.
that is that part of it for like actually extending the functionality of the smart home assistants. And I think Alexa through Amazon will move in a similar direction. ChatGPT has a plugin ecosystem now, and the way that plugins work is all you have to do is provide it with an API manifest, and the model itself figures out how to write requests to that API, and it figures out when it should write those requests based on user input. So the thinking, I'm sure, is, hey, we basically don't have to support this whole third-party ecosystem. It can be much simpler if you just expose an API manifest. Then our Google Assistant or Alexa or whatever can just figure out how to interact with your services when the user asks for things. What you got? A lot of third-party apps.
This is the third-party apps that work with Google. This is the interface.
It's pretty bad.
That's well,
you
it's
can
Android.
search.
It's Android. What do you expect?
You can search. This is the Google Home app.
It's just there's
Yeah,
not really there's no it's just a list. There's no like
It's just
searching.
there's no
discoverability.
categorization. It's
No.
just
It's just
this
a list
giant
of fucking.
Well, that doesn't
list.
mean shut it down. That means fix it.
No. It's all shovelware. Like it's
Look, man. We have an awesome app called Our Groceries that we can no longer use, and it's very irritating.
How so? I don't know. So that I don't understand. Like presumably you can interact with it through like a application or like through your phone,
Yeah.
like through Siri, right?
I don't know about through Siri, but we have two devices in our kitchen. One is called Computer, which is an Alexa device, which we have slowly
Descriptive.
stopped using. We have slowly stopped using it because honestly, it's terrible. It doesn't know when to stop talking. And then the Google one, which that's like a crapshoot on whether or not it's going to recognize our voice, but at least one of those gets the groceries from our voice into the list that we take to the grocery store.
I agree.
But
They
you
should,
know,
they
we
should
can-
reconsider this move. So
We can do it no longer, and I don't want to use the built-in shopping list because it sucks balls.
okay. Well, that's what I was going to suggest. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry about your balls.
Our Groceries is like really cool because like you can add a bunch of people to it, and then like people can add
sorry,
stuff. And,
sorry.
Wait. Are you
Correct the
buying
tense.
people as groceries?
Now, can you correct the tense?
Is
on
this
that,
like a
please?
Wayfair kind of situation?
Yeah,
It was
No,
really
so-
cool.
No, the app still exists. It's just not. It was always cool, but then it got the added functionality of Alexa and Google and stuff like that when those things became available.
No.
But the coolest thing about it is that you can be shopping, people can add stuff, and it'll show up. And
Yeah,
then
Google
you
has
can
to
check
staff a
stuff
whole
off
department
as you
for
go.
that. They don't want to do it anymore.
No,
exactly.
they don't.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I don't care. It's the best app.
They're not going to
these-
do it just for you and your household.
Yeah, they should though.
know.
But like, do you think like a bigger issue with those types of things, not like the LLM thing? I mean, obviously that's been a big wrench in like everything lately. But do you think like it was like a bigger thing before the AI stuff was more the HIPAA stuff, like in not really being able to like
You mean privacy?
make any,
Like
well, just
CCPA?
privacy, yeah, like privacy stuff, like not being able to like really make any actually useful apps for people other than informational apps. Like we've worked on these.
Yeah,
types
I don't
of
think
things where-
CCPA or GDPR or anything really gets in the way of interacting with an app that
this.
you choose to interact with.
Right. But I will
where
say
that
this.
stuff gets hairy, it's just like remarketing and
Third-party
and selling your
applications.
data and stuff like that.
This is the thing that it is related to privacy concerns partially, because the thing that kneecaps these experiences is that you can't, as a developer making these types of voice applications that get distributed on the Google Assistant or Alexa, you can't just get raw user input. It all has to be filtered through intents and
and
utterances.
as ODB says, "Ooh, baby, I like it raw."
Right. No raw. No doing it raw on this. And the
Oh.
reason for that is that
ODB.
if these
Wu-Tang.
things turn on unexpectedly, or it
thought
catches
you meant
something
Oracle
that it
database.
shouldn't, you're sending raw input to a third party developer, right? And so that had
That
to
makes
be
sense.
blocked. So they have this concept,
Yes.
this middleman layer, where you define utterances that then different phrases and things they map to that, and then that triggers different actions. So it had to be very flat in terms of like the way in that they had like slots and things so that you could fill in variables and stuff. But it was very,
It's
very
just like how Steve
But there's-
Huffman wanted.
But there's still no way to like have it sign into your healthcare account and check things for you.
there
and
were
stuff
some
like that.
they had a pilot
you had to like
program.
go. Yeah, you had to go elsewhere though for that kind of stuff.
They had a
Yeah.
pilot program where you could apply to be a HIPAA compliant application, and then you could connect accounts that way, which they clearly were scrapping. So the idea here is with the LLM stuff, and this is pure speculation, but this is
You were
this is-
disconnected from Google though to do that. Like
Yeah.
you basically had to solve everything on your own. My understanding, at least.
Okay.
Like Google wasn't
Well, they didn't want to take the liability on.
exactly. So Google was basically just handing you off to your own voice service at that point. The smart speaker was just a conduit, just an interface to a whole other service.
Yeah, the idea. So I think the idea is basically the experiences are subpar, and this new tech introduces the ability for us to parse raw user input on our end and turn it into API calls directly. So lower friction for third-party developers. We don't have to staff the same department that we would need to do the review process, and you get better experiences.
You're cutting Google out of the mix, essentially.
You're cutting out the need
Cutting out
to
the
maintain
costs.
an ecosystem. And I think this will, in a slightly less extreme fashion, because it's already more established, we'll see similar effects to like third-party app stores more generally. Like I think that more and more you'll just be using Slack or Discord, and it will just be bots that are very good at interacting with third-party services.
It's more like the internet is today. Like Google's the search engine, but you're going on another person's website. Google isn't hosting, Wikipedia. They're not.
No, they're indexing it. And
they're indexing
they have like the rich results or whatever.
Yeah,
but
so they're the front door. Sorry Reddit, but they're the front door, and then you get in. Yeah, and
no, they're the front door. Reddit's the front page. They're like the foyer.
Okay.
Reddit's the foyer. Google's the steps up to the door. Maybe
the vomitorium.
Yeah, Google's the steps up to the door.
You're already in the building at the vomitorium.
Look it up.
I know what a vomitorium is, but you're already in the building.
Who is the vomitorium? Is what I'm asking.
Who?
Who?
The vomit. Isn't that like?
No, not Pete Townsend.
Aren't there like a lot of misconceptions?
I know what a vomitorium is, but I don't know who the vomitorium is.
Well, in this metaphor,
None of them. Neither of them are the vomitorium. They can't be.
There's got to be a vomitorium.
You're already in the building at that point if
At
you're
least-
coming out of the vomitorium.
At least we
There's
found
probably
the
somebody
episode
that can
title.
serve that. I think Reddit might be the vomitorium.
Reddit is like the ticket keeper guy, the ticket taker. That guy.
Ticket taker. All right.
I don't know what the name is.
Fuck Reddit.
Fuck Reddit.
No, I did not want to.
Episode 37.
Episode 37.
Episode 37. Fuck Reddit. One more thing, and I cut
No,
this back
that's
in,
episode 37. Fuck Reddit.
Cut this
We're
back
done.
in so it makes sense. Squarespace's market.
I'm
cap
not going
is-
to cut anything back in, so it makes sense.
Squarespace's market cap is 4.43 billion. Does it not make more sense? And would you believe that their stock is on the up right now? Would it not make more sense for Google to buy Squarespace? That seems like it would be like a good acquisition.
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think Squarespace is like not. No, Google would never do that.
You don't think so?
Google is not in the internet game.
That's
No,
the
they're
craziest
just. It's
fucking
just
thing
not.
they've ever said.
They're not like website building. That's just that seems too messy for them.
They've already got stuff for
But
that.
but Squarespace is so goddamn like clean.
But their back end
Restrictive.
services, they just don't. They don't do that. They just don't play in that.
They could just like
space.
immediate. It's like if they
Yeah, they do.
like they should like own Word. Like if I'm Google, I want to own WordPress and Squarespace. Like I want to own it end to end. Like that's just vertical integration. Like I want to own.
They had
the internet.
Angular for a little while, but
Yeah, but that's just like they're open. That's Facebook to React. Like it's not like they don't own anything off of Angular, right? Like they don't own any infrastructure. They're not making any money directly on Angular.
But I mean, besides like Google Plus, they've never really gotten into any.
YouTube,
Well, YouTube as well. Yeah, YouTube is
wildly
still,
successful.
YouTube is a weird outlier, though. Like you notice, there's no Google branding on YouTube whatsoever. I mean, it's still treated as pretty much.
You remember when they
an
tried to
entity
like
company.
make you have to log in with Google Plus?
Yeah. That
That didn't work
go
out.
well. Yeah, and I know like you have to have a Google account technically for YouTube at this point, but it's still, I think, personally, it's a
Pretty
separate
distinct.
entity. Yeah. Episode 37. We love you.
Cut this in so it makes sense.
Son of a bitch.
I got nothing.
I'm not cutting anything in.
I just wanted to say it.
I am doing this chronologically from 0 to an hour and 4 minutes.
I love
this in.
artificially adding restraints that do not exist in a pre-recorded medium.
That's sheer laziness.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'm looking at
I
this thing
respect
that
it.
you shared, Randy, the killed by Google thing, and some of these I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But like Google Crisis Map? What the fuck?
I
Share
assume
maps
that's
by
like
combining layers from anywhere on the web. It was over 9 years old. What does crisis have to do with anything? It's weird. Create, publish,
Some
and
of
share
them
maps.
were killed and then reinvigorated and then killed again.
if you want to check it out,
Like zombie.
killedbygoogle.com.
Yeah, I think it's just killedbygoogle.com. Yeah.
Episode
definitely
37.
Check it out.
Fuck
Episode 37, we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@WeDoCrime. We have a voicemail that you can leave us a message that we can play it on air. But if you say in the message you don't want it played on air, we don't have to, whatever. So that's
If you
it.
become our 12th viewer or subscriber on YouTube, Drew will suck your dick.
WeDoCrime.com/voicemail, and
I'm gonna need a doctor's note first. Love you.
Now
Bye.
what's his drive?
So we have to protect our genius.
We're not selling anybody's data.
Now what's his drive?
I have a son. He's 10 years old. He has computers.